I am 1 week into my 30-day fat loss glow up, and I was thinking back to my 45-pound weight loss journey and all the different things I was doing to try to lose weight. And there were a lot of things I thought were pretty healthy that were actually making it really hard for me to lose fat. I've shared a lot of the healthy habits and tips that help me lose weight, but these are 6 I've never talked about, and I guarantee you're doing at least one of them. They have all had a huge impact on my weight loss. It's all the little things that add up, right? But the last one, which was the hardest, it was the hardest for me to give this one up. But when I finally did, that's when I really started seeing all of the weight come off. So I'm gonna break them all down and share what you can do instead and what I did to lose 45 pounds. And then at the end of the video, I'm also gonna give you a free 3-day detox meal plan. If you are struggling to lose weight or you just don't know where to get started to be able to eat healthy, this is gonna be a huge help for you, so make sure you stick around for that. So if you like videos like this, sweat the thumbs up. That just means give it a little click, and make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I have new videos every single week sharing my health and fitness journey to help you with yours. Plus, I do giveaways for my subscribers. This is just a way for me to say thank you for being here, supporting me and the channel, and for me to give back to you every single week for putting your health and fitness first. So all you need to do to win is make sure you're subscribed and comment on my videos. I randomly will pick a winner every week and drop them over in the community channel. Number 1, I realized that this was adding up to hundreds of excess calories every week and a lot of excess fat. Y'all know I love my coffee. I'm shocked actually, I have Natural Beauty right now and not a coffee in my hand. I feel like every video I'm drinking a coffee. I was a huge International Delight girl. And this is not just to hate on this brand, it's just that was my brand. I did International Delight French Vanilla Coffee Creamer in my coffee every day. And I really like my coffee like a milky chocolate color, you know what I mean? Like I'm not doing like a bunch of black coffee with just like a splash of milk. So that was an excess of like 20 to 25 grams of sugar. First thing in the morning, before 7 a.m., I'm like, let's just get a little cup of sugar in here. And 24 grams of sugar is the daily recommended amount of added sugar. And then at one point I finally switched to the sugar-free, but if you've ever looked at those ingredients lists, they are crazy. So the first thing I started doing was cutting back on how much I was putting in because I just didn't know what else to do. Then eventually I swapped to a little bit of like half and half and then putting in a Splenda. I was a big Splenda girl, the sucralose, that was what was in the creamers though. And I was getting headaches all the time. I didn't really realize like what the connection was. Eventually I went to a stevia, which at least is a natural 0-calorie sugar. So artificial sugars, artificial sweeteners like your sucralose, your Splendas, Sweet and Lows, all of those are not okay. Like ideally avoid those, right? Then you have your 0-calorie natural ones like stevia and monk fruit. Those ones are completely different. They are not artificial, they are real. So those ones I was totally good with. But eventually I wanted more for my morning coffee, and as I became more educated and as I was losing weight, and that's where I started adding in all my adaptogens and vitamins and minerals and all the different things I was mixing in my cup until eventually I created my Miss Congeniality Mood Boost that is just perfectly sweet, has everything you need. But long story short, creamer was one of the first things I realized I really needed to cut out of my daily routine if I wanted to see results. Number 2 is so hard. This is one I get asked about every single day, and it is tough because there's not a lot of good ones out there. And that is fiber/protein bars. So I used to eat fiber bars or protein bars every single day. I would use them as meal replacements, thinking that was healthy, and it just wasn't the case. The problem with most of these bars is they have so many unnecessary added ingredients. So ideally, I try to keep my bars to 10 grams of protein or more, 6 grams of sugar or less. And it's hard to find any bars that have that also don't have just a bunch of chemicals in the ingredient list or like fake sugars and stuff. Having hypothyroidism, I really was in need of more fiber in my diet and trying to find ways to sneak in. So I was a fiber 1 fiend. I would eat these bars all day, every day, getting my fiber. And here's what I learned. You don't need 25 grams of fiber, which is almost an entire day's worth in one single bar. And I distinctly remember one of the most embarrassing times of my life. I just graduated college. I was at this new job. I'd maybe been there 3 or 4 weeks, sitting in my boss's office, having a very serious conversation about a client that we were working with. And I was in this meeting literally in hot sweats, you guys. Hot, sweaty sweats, because I had to go to the bathroom so bad. And you could hear my stomach, and I know he could hear my stomach. But what do? You're sitting with your boss at a new job. So I just sat there, so uncomfortable, squirming, sweating. Luckily it wrapped up. I made it. There was no embarrassing Nothing happened. You have all these sugar alcohols causing digestive issues. And the one thing that I realized is not only was it causing me to feel sick and have all these like horrible bathroom situations, I wasn't losing weight because I was craving more sweets, craving more sugars. I wasn't getting enough protein, or I was getting protein, but my body wasn't breaking it down in the right way. And then I craved more sweets, so then I just ended up having more calories every day. I wish I had a protein bar I could really recommend for you guys. There's just not a lot that I like. I do have a recipe for a really healthy, yummy peanut butter protein bar, so I'll share that in my newsletter next week. If you guys want to get that one, just make sure you're in my newsletter. I'll drop a link down below for you too. Oh my gosh, you guys, the last one is so good and I want to share it so bad, but I'm gonna get to it in a minute. But this third one is something that I think a lot of us, especially women, can relate to. Right now, if you were to ask me, am I a sweets or savory girl, I would 100% say savory. But I used to be way more of a sweets girl. I would have crazy cravings like every single night. And in college, we had a yogurt land down the street from us. And this is when like frozen yogurt was it. And so we went a couple times and then we just kept going and kept going. We ended up going almost every single night because we could walk to it. So I got in this habit of having dessert that I didn't need every single night. And frozen yogurt's supposed to be healthy, right? Well, in a small, like a cup serving of most of those frozen yogurts, they have 25 grams of sugar. And then on top of it, it's like, I felt like it was a gateway drug. I don't know how to describe it. Then you're like, oh, a little graham cracker, a little granola, that's healthy. Oh, a little coconut spread. You just like start adding and adding, and all of a sudden you have 500 extra calories a day that I didn't need. And in my head, I just kept justifying it that it was healthy. It was a healthy dessert. There was nothing healthy about it. And I wasn't losing any weight. In fact, I was gaining weight. I was getting heavier and heavier thinking I was eating healthy. And maybe that seems obvious now, but I think a lot of us do that. We find healthy swaps and alternatives that we think are better, but maybe they're just different. They're just as bad, but in a different way. So is it better than just like eating ice cream every night? Maybe, maybe not. Like it had less fat content, but frozen yogurt has way more sugar usually, but really it was never intended to be a nightly thing. It should have been a treat once in a while, which it wasn't. So now if I have those sweet cravings at night, instead of doing frozen yogurt, I like to do just some plain Greek yogurt, add a scoop of like either my Wing Woman or Miss Congeniality, or you could use little maple syrup or something to sweeten it up. But adding protein also is gonna help because that's gonna actually make you feel full. And the more protein you have, the more muscle you build and the more fat you're able to burn. Okay, I'm gonna share the details for how to get the free detox meal plan in just a couple minutes. But number 4, I know there's other girls out there that are like this. I know there's other girls that have done this too. Does anyone remember the Special K diet? Anyone? Am I dating myself? Okay, so the Special K cereal, the brand cereal, they've removed all of this from their website. I went digging, I could find nothing. It was a real thing though, because I found articles about it at least. It was basically the idea that you were to swap 2 meals a day with Special K cereal. And they claim that you could lose 6 pounds and a pant size in 2 weeks. Okay, sure, if you're literally only eating 2 bowls of cereal and maybe 1 other meal a day, and you go from eating multiple meals a day, you're probably gonna lose weight, for sure. There's a lot of factors going into that. But this is not healthy. It was not good for me. And the problem was I realized it really led to more yo-yo dieting because I'd go so restrictive, I'd see some results and be like, oh my gosh, well my 2 weeks are over. Now I just go back to my normal eating. Nothing about it was good. I know there's a lot of girls who are like, oh, I'll just eat like healthy cereal. That counts as a meal. No. Let's look at this healthy cereal. And they still market it as healthy. They still they'll put protein on the labels. That like makes it magically better. So this was my go-to. It was the vanilla almond. It was so good, you guys. Here's the nutrition. Do we want to look at the ingredients? Well, sugar is the second ingredient. So ingredients go in order of abundance, meaning the first thing you see is whatever there's the most of. The second thing is second most, and so on and so on. So sugar is the second most abundant ingredient in this healthy cereal. So 1.5 grams of fat, not a lot of fat, great. 33 carbs, there's nothing wrong with carbs. That's a good healthy portion of carbohydrates. 11 grams of sugar. So this is in 1 cup, 11 grams of added sugar in this healthy cereal. Our body treats carbs and sugars the same way. So after you eat, it gets broken down into glucose, and glucose gives our cells energy. That is a good thing. But when you eat more carbohydrates than your body is actually gonna use for energy, then it's gonna store that as excess fat. So that's the same for sugar. So if you have more sugars, more carbs in that excess, it's gonna be stored as fat. So if you wanna eat cereal, great, but don't go replacing meals with it, and make sure that it has a minimum of 10 grams of protein and also has less than 6 grams of sugar. I promise they exist, but they are very hard to find. Number 5, Veggie Chips. I was duped into thinking that veggie chips were so much healthier than potato chips or the hint of lime Tostitos I was obsessed with. They were veggies. Wrong. It took me so long to realize that they were not at all healthier. In fact, they actually are about the same calorically as just a basic potato chip. The whole process that they have to go through in order to make them into chips basically just takes most of the nutrients out of them, and you are left with just a vegetable colored shaped potato chip. Like, it's really not any different. There's some that they make that are like baked and that's slightly healthier, but in no way are you getting the nutrients that you'd be getting from veggies, and most of the time you're getting the same level of fat and carbs and everything else. And your girl would eat these. Like, I would get like Sprouts had this like plastic tub of these veggie chips, and they're so good and lightly salted, and I would just like nosh on those all day thinking I was kind of eating vegetables. No. So if you're a chippy girl like me, there are better swaps out there that are gonna be less calories. Like I said, some of the baked ones, the biggest thing you can do, the biggest thing I did for myself was really, one, cut myself off so I stopped craving those. There are times where I think you just have to kind of go cold turkey. And then I made better choices when I bought them. So I started buying some of the baked ones. But the most important thing was just doing portion control, because a single portion of the most chips is only like 15 chips. Again, who only eats 15 chips? But that's like a healthy portion of them. So I had to start actually portioning them out to get myself to a place where I could enjoy them but not go crazy. And number 6, I had to stop eating, not a food. This one is not a food, but it's still, I had to stop eating. I had to stop eating after 9 p.m. And let me just say, there's not a magical time. So don't think like, oh my gosh, 9 p.m. I stopped eating at 7. This is not a problem for me. It may still be. 9 p.m. was my time. I had to cut myself off then because I would go to bed at like 11 o'clock. And I want to always give myself a buffer of 2 hours from when I stop eating to when I go to bed. That's really a great time for your body to be able to digest. But here was the biggest problem for me. The reason why I had to give myself a time at night to stop eating was because I would just keep going. Those cravings would hit mentally or physically, and I didn't really know how to control it. The bottom line was I wasn't making healthy choices after 9 p.m. Even if I was like eating so healthy during the day, I got rid of some of these other things from my diet, and then I would make a healthy dinner and then be like, oh, I'll just eat a little bit of Captain Crunch or Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Those were why do I like all the crunchy things? And I realized that there were so many, hundreds of excess calories I was consuming when I ate after 9 p.m. that I stopped eating. And I became more mindful of all of my decisions. And just by giving myself a little bit of a barrier, it really helped me cut out hundreds of excess calories every single week. Obviously, it's not easy to just like flip that switch. So I put a big focus on increasing my protein throughout the day, which is gonna help me feel more full and helped me cut cravings. I also just had to keep myself really busy. So when I was used to going and grabbing snacks and doing things after 9, I just was like, nope, I'm gonna pick up a book. Oh, I'm gonna do 20 crunches. I'm gonna do something as a swap to really fill that time when it was hard until it got easier. And also realize like this is kind of where intermittent fasting comes in, because like, although I'm not a fan of intermittent fasting anymore, it's not recommended for women that are menstruating, all the stuff. Go watch my other video on that if you want more details. But if you have a really hard time controlling your eating and you're eating in excess because you're going late into these like windows at night and early morning. So that in that way did help me early on to be able to at least say like, okay, I'm gonna stop eating after this time so that I can stay focused on the food that's actually fueling my body. And when I did that, those hundreds of excess calories were cut from my diet. When I cut out the creamers with all the sugars and fake stuff, when I stopped eating all these fiber bars and cereals and all these little things that I thought were healthy, I actually started getting results. Yes, I was moving my body, but I wasn't doing anything crazy. You guys know I started 10 minutes a day. Then I moved up to like, I do 30 to 45 minutes a day now, but it's those little tiny things that add up. So you know your lifestyle, you know what makes sense for you, but if you're doing any of these 6, it's time to start cutting them out. And I wanna help make that easier for you. So I have that free 3-day detox meal plan. It is a full meal plan. We are not talking like juice cleanse up in here. There's delicious, healthy meals that are so easy to make. They're fun for everyone in your family. Like everyone will love them. And it's nutritious foods just to help fuel your body and to get you on track. So all you need to do is join my email list. This is for my newsletter I send every week. I'll drop the link in the description down below and pin it in the comments. But hopefully it helps you guys. I hope you like these tips. If you did, again, sweat that thumbs up, comment down below. Let me know which one of these things you have been struggling with, or maybe you did in the past, and how you're able to get over it and how you guys are doing. I love you all so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.